just by telling them that we do this, this, and this, that's not the offer. It's an actual invitation. It's almost like me saying, I'm having a birthday party in June.
Sweet.
Yeah. And it's like,
Right.
okay, see you later.
Am I invited? Am
Yeah,
I not invited?
exactly. And that's
What's
how
the
people walk
theme?
away with, so what do I do now, right? Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Welcome back to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. This week, I am giving you a 4-part sales conversation structure that hits every single time. Now look, I have frameworks that feel complicated, lots of sales coaches do, but this one is one that will help you to develop trust, help you to feel secure, and if you feel like your sales calls are awkward, inconsistent, you're hot one week and then your closing ratio sucks the next week, then it's probably because you don't have a structure that you really trust. And so this is one that's simple. You can do it with your eyes closed. You can do it without a script, and you'll find that more people will say yes as a result of this process. So let's get into it. I'm going to invite Taylor to have a conversation with me because she knows this really well also. The first part I want to talk about is connection, not small talk. So we get nervous, and I'll tell myself a little bit. I know that there was a time where when I would get nervous having a first conversation with people, I would fill up the air with words, right? Just talk. And so, how are your kids? And all those things sound great, but what I really have found to be the most valuable thing is to truly connect with someone. And if you can connect with them, it's a whole different environment. It's a very different dynamic. And the thing is, it's almost like an invitation to continue to say more without feeling like you just have to chatter in order to get them to want to connect with you in the first place, right? You feel the same?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, it's a nice, you want to have a nice table tennis, like back and forth flow with each other. And you want to feel that, almost like that rhythm I feel of like really building on connection points and not just filling in the air with small talk, how's the weather, this and that.
Yes, it's so, and it's so irritating because once you're all the way over here talking about weather and children and all these things, they're great, how do you now get it back to where it really needs to be? That's awkward to me. Yeah. Trying to go like, so what about your sales numbers? It's like, it's so weird, right? But this is funny. And I had this happen, and I think different, obviously, but I'm in a room this week. And it was a great room. It was hundreds of women in the room. It was fantastic. And I was really paying attention to which people I really had a connection with and with which people I just had an interaction with. Mm-hmm. And so I invite you to do the same thing. Really begin to pay attention to who do you actually connect with and who you have an interaction with. And this is what I would dare say, because one of the things that I have the privilege of doing is I travel with a couple of my clients to help them at conferences for the purpose of connection. My whole role is to help identify their ideal clients, get them connected so that they can take it from there. And I find that the people that when I get back to my office and I reach back out to them, the people who are like, oh my God, yes, let's talk now. And the people who are like, chirp, 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 you don't hear anything back from them. That's a really good indicator. Number one, was it just the excitement of the room, or was there a real connection there? And so you want to make sure that you're able to connect in a way that sets the tone for moving forward and also lowers the guard. Because if their guard is still up, the likelihood is you haven't connected yet. Doesn't mean you can't, but you haven't connected yet. And how does connection really feel for someone in a networking space, or you've met them at a conference, or you've reached out to them for the first time? How would you describe connection in your opinion?
Yeah, connection is like having that new friend, that new colleague. It becomes someone whom I trust, whom I would consider adding to my Rolodex, whether I, end up selling to them or working with them, or is it someone where I'm like, wow, I genuinely know Tish is awesome with sales. And so when you have that conversation with someone else, they're saying, oh, I'm really struggling with sales. you've made a connection when you can call back on someone and go, oh, wait, this is someone else you should talk to. And so it's having that genuine understanding and, really being able to like sell for other people. We have an episode where we talk about if you can't talk to an 8-year-old about what they do and the 8-year-old can't retort exactly what you do, then, you're sloppy with your delivery of what you're doing. Yeah. And so similarly, you have a connection with other people when you can sell other people.
So good. Oh my God, that's so good. The other thing that I find is that, we want to make someone feel seen. When we're all about ourselves and it's the whole conversation is trying to very quickly tell them all the things that we can do for them, that's a quick turnoff. It's a real quick turnoff. And so we want to make that person feel seen. And we want to have a connection, such a great connection that if they are in another room, someone mentions your name, they're automatically referring back to, oh my God, I met that person and they were this and they do this. So if they can't walk away with a very clear understanding, it doesn't have to be of everything you do, but they know that there's a reason that they want to reconnect with you, then, we have work to do if we're not allowing that to happen, right? I love walking into a room. Now, mind you, my name is memorable because it's TT, right? When you find someone who's like Tina Thomas or my Tish Times, it's easier to remember probably than an average name. At least that's what I find people say. But by the same token, I love walking into a room and people say, oh, wow, I've heard your name. People have been talking about you. That makes a difference because that means that someone I connected with earlier, obviously, has now been spreading something, right? In a good way, thank God. So you want to make people feel seen. People buy when they feel understood. Mm-hmm. And so if it's all about us, we can't make them feel seen because we're trying to be seen. And if you're trying to be seen, look, you know who I am. I'm going to go there. So there's a scripture in the Bible that says that if I tell everybody about, all the great things that are happening with me, basically, I have my reward openly. Meaning, instead of me going into my closet and praying, it's like, God, I want to thank you for these things. Instead of me going, I just won this and I'm this person. So God's like, okay, you have your reward, or you can get a reward that he gives you that's so much greater. So frequently when we're in sales, we make our own reward because we're like, and I do this and I do that, instead of giving them the opportunity to understand who you are because you've shown them based on the value opposed to all of what you're saying. And so it's just, I think people, when they feel seen, they feel understood, they feel cared for, believe it or not, they're willing to move forward in the conversation. If you're someone who hates to network because you don't always know what to say, I get you. I'm an introvert too, and I've created a free gift for you. It's my Networking and Sales Handbook, just for introverts, and it is at tishtimes.com. It'll be the first pop-up you'll see. Grab it. Let me know what you think about it. It's free. Go grab it right now. All right, part 2 is truth, right? The real problem. And so it's like asking deeper questions. And you just said that a minute ago. It's like we were talking on a previous episode about how when you're not clear on what someone does, you sometimes have to ask a lot of questions. Well, what about you coming to the conversation asking the right questions so that you can be clear and understand how to help or support the person that you're talking to? So asking deeper questions, and don't settle for surface level answers. So you know what my favorite response is to a person when I'm meeting them, whether for the first time or when I'm having a conversation? Favorite phrase: say more. Say more. Because all it is an invitation for me to understand more about what they do. Instead of me talking about what I do, it's like, no, I want to hear from you. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, for me, it's almost like a race. If I get on a conversation, I want to be the first one to ask questions, because then I've drawn them into the conversation instead of me just kind of talking about myself. How do you feel about asking the right questions, or how does that work for you in your business?
Yeah, asking the right questions is crucial in making the best decisions for them of which directions to go in. Especially in video marketing, there are so many different platforms that can be overwhelming, and not everyone should be on every platform. So we have to have a deep discovery session to truly understand their target audience, what their goals are. So then we can best give them that recommended blueprint as an expert.
You just said the word that was in my heart for the next thing I was going to say. Listen up. Let's talk. Come closer. Please stop having sales conversations on the fly. A true discovery process means you have very specific questions that you need to answer or have answered to know if they're an ideal client for you, to know if you can serve them, to be honest with you, to know if it's a good fit. Because sometimes they're a perfect client. They have capacity, they're the right size company, all the things, and you would hate working with them, right? The personality is not a fit. Their control issues are going to get in the way of you being able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, right? So having a true discovery process, not a let me just ask you a few questions on the fly and then make you an offer, that'll get you into trouble over and over and over again. And look, I tell you what, if you're listening to this going, discovery process, what exactly do you mean? You know, I have 5 questions I ask people, but I really don't know what else to ask. If you in the comments say the word discovery, I will share with you my discovery questions. Now, mine are from my industry, obviously. You'll have to readjust them. But I want to give you a foundation that will be helpful for you so that you can have a better experience and give the people that you're working with or wanting to work with a better experience as well, right? The part 3 is ownership. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Ownership means they need to be able to own that they have a problem. If you can't get them to say it out loud, if you can't get them to articulate what they're currently dealing with, the likelihood is you can't solve a problem they don't think they have. You can't force them to buy a solution for a problem they don't see. And so you have to get them to articulate the gap, to own the fact that they have a need. And once you're there, now you're able to present what's potentially the solution for it. But the likelihood is high that many professionals overall, we're trying to solve a problem that the client does not realize that they have.
And I think we all need to get honest with ourselves. I think many times when people, how's business going? Great.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's it. No, be honest. Are you having a marketing issue, a sales issue? Do you have something going on, with one of your staff members? Are you needing someone to help you more with admin? I think we all need to get a little more honest on what's going on in our business, because you never know. There might be a solution right in front of you, but if you're not even honest with yourself, you'll never know.
So true. And I think it's also really crucial for us in our business and our lane, right, our lane of expertise, to know the right questions to be able to uncover that when people say, great, all is well, no problems here. If you have the right questions to ask, in moments, you'll be able to identify if they really have an issue. I've had people that are like, all is well, we're good. And by the end of the session, at the end of our conversation, they're going, you know what? Let's talk tomorrow. I think I might actually need to hire you. So having the right questions that don't feel salesy, but they're able to uncover what the real issue is so that they can own it, it's important as well. And then part 4 is the invitation, not pressure, right? Not forcing, but it's presenting a clear offer. You'd be amazed how many entrepreneurs I speak to who think they've made an offer and really have not. All right. I sat on a call with someone this past week and I recorded it. I'm so glad I recorded it because the lady I was working with, she goes, oh no, I did. I made the offer. And I said, you didn't. She goes, I know. I said, I recorded it. Would you like to hear? And she was like, really? And yeah, it was literally like she was able to hear herself back and go, oh my God, I do that all the time. I said, I know. And it's so subconscious. In our mind, we're saying, so I'm looking forward to talking to you again. That's not an offer, right? Let me know whenever you're ready. That's not an offer. And so present an offer clearly tied directly to what they said. So if they've told you we're really struggling with, we're really having a hard time with, or we're really, missing this particular area of our business, okay, because you said this, I'd love to talk to you about how we can help fill that gap for you or how we can give you some strategies to get you across the line or whatever. But the actual invitation gets missed so often. And the problem is many people think they've made the offer and they really have not. And just by telling someone the price, it's not the offer. Just by telling them that we do this, this, and this, that's not the offer. It's an actual invitation. It's almost like me saying, I'm having a birthday party in June.
Sweet.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, see you later.
Am I invited?
Am I not invited? Exactly. And that's how people walk away with. So what do I do now, right? And so the offer needs to be as clear as my birthday party is on June 15th. It'll be at the, Horizon Country Club at 7:00. I'd love to have you come, right? Here's the information to get there. Here's what's expected. Bring
here's
this,
the
bring
attire,
that.
here's
The whole 9 yards. A full invitation is what's required. So I hope that that's helpful for you. I want you to answer this question for yourself, and you can give me your feedback in the comments. What feels hardest about this for you? Is there anything that feels like, ooh, that sounds great, but... Or is it something that you're realizing, I'm missing that, or that's me. I'm the one that's not making the offer thinking I made it. I'd love to hear back from you. And as always, put something that you heard today into practice. If you want the discovery session questions, put discovery in the comments, and I'll connect with you, and I'll get your email address. We can send that over to you. So have a great one. We'll see you back here next week on the Sold Out Sales podcast. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I would love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.